My name is Hanley McAtee. I'm a sophomore and I go to Kennett High School. My favorite memory was doing all the extra things we did outside of tennis with my teammates. That really brought us closer, and that also contributed to us winning a state championship.
My name is Carly Winston. I'm a senior at Kennett High School. My favorite memory would probably be at sectionals. I was the last one playing, and it was a super close match, and we ended up winning from that.
I'm Giselle Garcia. I'm a senior at Kennett High School. My favorite memory had to be playing Clue the night right before we went to win our state championship.
My name is Claire Bean, and I'm a freshman at Holcomb High School. Being a state champ was really good. It was very exciting.
I'm Christy Tejeda, and I'm a junior at Kennett High School. It just feels great being able to play with two other girls that we went to state with last year, and then with a new group this year, being able to get closer with the girls throughout the summer. It just feels great to be a state champion again.
I'm Macy Basil, and I'm a senior at Kennett High School. It feels incredible. Being able to return to the state championship this year just means a lot to me and my teammates. Being able to just play my hardest during the state championship just meant a lot to me, and be able to encourage my teammates to keep going and pushing throughout the season to get to this level really felt incredible.
Hello and welcome to Barry Interesting. Sitting in for Barry Aycock, I'm Philip Britt, your host. We're witnessing one of the most dominant sports performances in SEMO sports history. The Kennett tennis team has now won 42 straight matches, 2 seasons of 21 wins, no losses, and 2 state championships. Not too many folks expected this team to repeat as state champions this year, as they lost 3 seniors from last year's team, including their top 2 players, one of those being Annelle Harris, the 3-time SEMO Ball Tennis Athlete of the Year, Girls Tennis Athlete of the Year. But not only was this a repeat, I think it was even better. I'm joined by Coach Janet Hilburn, head coach of the Kennett tennis team, along with assistant coach Hannah Hunter. Coach Hilburn, Coach Hunter, welcome back to Very Interesting.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you back. What an amazing 2-year run. How good does this feel?
Well, it feels awesome. It was a very fun run.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that and congratulate you, Coach Hilburn, on being named the SEMO Ball Coach of the Year. That's not just tennis coach, that's all coaches last year. Congratulations on that. And by being named the Misha State Girls Tennis Coach of the Year. Both well-deserved honors. Congratulations on those.
Thank you very much.
So I mentioned in the opening you lost 3 varsity players to graduation, and many saw this as a rebuilding year. How did you turn it into something that was a whole lot more?
You just have to go to work early and work on replacing your spots that are left vacant for the next year. And I started a little earlier this year, and as you said, there were 3 key players in key spots, and it took some work. Not just by me, by Coach Hunter, and the players as well.
When did you kind of start working with them this year?
I start working with the girls when school gets out in the spring, but as far as my work and trying to see what kind of talent, who I might fill those spots, I start about January, February. Okay. I've got to go looking for people. Right.
So you added one player, not only new to the team, but new to Kennett Sports because she's a Holcomb student.
Yes. That was kind of in the works when spring came, late winter, and they said, you know, I think that Claire may want to come to Kennett. And I said, well, we've got to get with the administration and see what all that we have to do. And as everything got taken care of, we just started to work, got with Claire, kind of basically told her, this is how I run my program, this is what it's going to take. Are you willing to jump on board? And she says, I sure am.
Well, she was certainly a welcome addition to the team.
Yes, she fit in real well. You know, when a person comes from another school nearby that you're used to playing in other sports and being big rivals, we didn't have that problem.
That's good.
You know, first day of practice for the summer, I just said, we've got a new girl on board and she's on our team.
That's good. And we've seen that quite a bit around the area with a lot of the real small schools not having enough players to put a team together, so they combine two schools together. We haven't seen that a lot at Kennett, you know, some other schools coming in, so kind of a different idea than what we've seen recently.
It was, and what is so funny is when I am coaching, and I don't look a whole lot on social media or the paper, people just come to me, and I had several people contacting me, what is this Kennett with Holcomb? And I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. We're just doing work on the court, so.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a mission statement
Yes.
about who what the team is. So it always says that Kennett with Holcomb. But so you've got 3 seniors on the team, but your top 3 players were all underclassmen. And they, what did you see, Coach Hunter? What did you see as far as them gaining experience and maturing over the year? And then how did the 3 seniors kind of help them and lift them up?
Well, I think that the 3 seniors definitely did help, and from last year, Annelle, and they kind of helped Hanley and Christy kind of get them going on what path they need to be on, being the head of the tennis team on varsity. And so I think it's just those 3 seniors really did help. And
good. Well, I talked, we got a chance to talk with Hanley and Claire earlier, and I mentioned to Hanley that last year she didn't have a whole lot of responsibility. She was a freshman and she was just, she got to just play. And this year she had to be a team leader. I mean, she had to kind of step up and be a team leader. So how did that go with, with those younger girls kind of stepping up and leading by example, if not necessarily by voice?
I think it went, she had a lot to get together and learn, and she's still learning, and I think all the older kids, they were just kind of just following in her footsteps still, and just watching her and trying to carry on what she's doing. And
good.
She doesn't ever have much to say, but out of the 3 girls that returned on the varsity level this year, 2 of them were underclassmen. So they were veterans, and even though they're underclassmen, they helped steer the new girls that played, and they picked right up on it.
Well, that's good. In addition to winning the state tournament, I just mentioned you had Claire Bean and Hanley McAtee who brought home the state doubles championship as well. Is that your first individual champions?
Yes, the closest we'd been in the past were 2nd place, and them winning, not dropping a set, it was just an amazing ride. It was, it's just so unusual. Until you've done it as long as I've done it, you don't understand what a great accomplishment it is when it is done.
Yeah, and they didn't lose a set all the way through the state tournament. That's, to me, that's one of the most amazing accomplishments. Well, I mean, just for your team all year. I mean, your team has won, almost all your matches. You didn't lose. You didn't drop an individual match.
Right, very few.
And so we did get a chance to talk with those 2 young ladies. First, before we cut away to that interview, how do you make a decision? They can't, those are your top 2 singles players and your top doubles team. How do you make a decision? Because they can't do both in the state tournament. So how do you make a decision about that?
Well, let me tell you, it's not an easy decision by any means, but we had a lot of talks, and I knew that they were very dominant in their singles play, and I knew they were very dominant and were a great pair to play doubles together. One was strong at this in doubles, where one was strong at something else, and I knew that they were going to be good. But after we had a lot of talk, and them being underclassmen, them being very quiet players, we just kind of talked, and I said, you know, I think going as a doubles team would be better because you all like each other to lean on. And they said, yeah, that's what we were thinking, Coach. And so it worked out well.
Well, it obviously did. It was obviously the right decision for sure. So we had a chance to talk with them. So let's take a break and see what those young ladies had to say. I'm joined now by two tennis players from the Kennett with Holcomb tennis team, the state doubles champions, Claire Bean and Hanley McAtee. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
It's pretty amazing to be two-time state champions in the same season, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, a lot of people around thought this was going to be a down year for Kennett. You know, you lost 3 seniors off of the state championship team from last year. Hanley, what do you think going into the season? What do you think was going to happen?
Well, we really didn't know for sure who would fill those spots, but we definitely knew that Janet would have us prepared for the season, you know, practicing during the summer. And thankfully we had 3 seniors that filled our spots, and well, Claire's a freshman, but
she filled a big spot,
yeah,
didn't
it's a big
she?
help there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Claire, you're actually a freshman at Holcomb High School, not at
Yes.
Kennett. So how's that work? How does that whole deal work with getting to play with the Kennett team?
Well, it's actually a co-op, and so I play with the Kennett tennis team, and which I'm from Holcomb, so
But that's because Holcomb doesn't have a team, right?
yes.
Okay, so several years ago, Misha instituted this idea that if your school didn't have a team, you could go to combine with another team close by. And so I know that's happened around here a lot of times in volleyball. It's happened in baseball quite a bit, and softball, and so now obviously in tennis too. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what was it like? When did you really start thinking about I want to play with the Kennett team?
Well, I've always thought about it when I was younger, since I've attended a lot of their camps, and since Holcomb didn't have a program, I just always thought about it when I was younger to play with the Kennett tennis team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good team to get to play with too.
Yeah.
So you're both young. Hanley, you're a sophomore. Claire, you're a freshman, as I just mentioned. But you've both played quite a bit of tennis over the years. Hanley, when did you start playing tennis?
I started going to some camps when I was about 8.
Your older sister played tennis as well, so I'm
Yes.
sure she had you out playing a little
She
bit too.
did. We practiced. I practiced with her a lot, and I just kind of went from there.
Okay, I'm sure practicing with her, she probably didn't take it easy on you,
Yes,
so it
no,
probably
she
made
didn't.
you a lot better. I'm sure.
Yes.
That's right. Claire, how about you? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since I was 4. I actually started with Janet when I was 4 years old.
At one of
and-
her summer tennis camps?
Yes.
I tell you what, it's I live in Kennett, and it's pretty cool to go by there during the summer tennis camps and see just the courts completely packed with little kids.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing. My kids went to her camps when they were little. They just loved to play and be out there and be involved in stuff. So it was pretty cool. So not only were you guys the top doubles team on your team, but you were also the top 2 singles players. But you can't do both in the state tournament, right?
Yeah.
So when was the decision made to play doubles versus trying to compete at singles?
Janet kind of made that decision for us, but we both knew that we would probably get farther if we combined our talents into a doubles team. And we just, we work really well together and practice well together and both get along, and that just kind of contributed to our successes.
Well, and that's the interesting thing. I mean, you're both really good singles individual players, and tennis is such an individual game, but you're also part of a team. What's different about playing singles versus playing doubles?
With doubles, you have to have a lot of partnership, and you have to communicate a lot with your partner. And it's a lot different from singles because you're out there with your partner and you have a lot of help, and then with singles, you're up there by yourself.
It is really, sometimes just feel like you're out there on an island all alone
Yes.
sometimes, don't you? I mean, your coach can't help you. You don't have anybody to rely on. You have to hit every serve and every return. And so I guess that's, with doubles, you've got somebody that's covering part of the court, but if you don't communicate well, you're going to run into each other because you're used to playing by yourself, and so I'm sure that's a challenge, isn't it?
Yes. Thankfully, I had a great partner to work with, and we both just, she knew what I needed help with, and I would kind of tell her some tips too when something was going wrong. But for most of the year, we knew each other's strengths and how we worked well together.
Do you guys have similar games, like individual games?
I would say so.
Because a lot of times, because a lot of times you'll have players that are like power players versus finesse players,
yes.
and sometimes it's hard to play together if you're two totally different styles of play.
I would say more kind of finesse players.
Good. Well, that's probably why you guys work so well together. You guys didn't lose a single set throughout the state tournament play. What was that like?
Well, we just, we knew going into it that it was going to be difficult, and I just think we had our minds in the right places, and we were younger and didn't really know much about like the state, how it worked and everything, but having a great partner like Claire, we both just worked together and played like it was like any other match. We didn't really have any nerves or anything going into it.
Were there some matches where you had some tight sets, or was it, did you guys feel like you were in control all the way?
I feel like there were definitely some matches that were tight at some point, like the games, and we just had to work hard and
Absolutely.
get through it.
I mean, you guys did great. I mean, that's to me what the team's done and what you've done for the last 2 years is just almost amazing, honestly. So what about the team competition? So in the championship match, Claire, you played the state singles champion.
Yes.
And you beat her. So tell me about that. Tell me about that match.
I knew going into it that it was going to be very difficult, and I knew I just had to work hard, and I was playing a really good player, and I was actually down in the match, and I knew I just had to keep on working, and I came back and won. So.
Okay, so there's a difference in being down 2-1 and being down 5-2 when you're playing the six. That's a big deal to come back from 5-2 down to the best player in the state, or the state champion, because obviously you were the best player in the state because she was the state champion, but you didn't get to play her until that game. Your dad sent me a message. He said that when you came off the court after that match, he was so excited. He gave you a big hug and said, how do you feel? And your response was what?
I wanted to go eat a hot dog.
Yeah, do they have hot dogs at the concession stand? That's great. I mean, I think that's, that tells me that you were loose, you were excited about it, obviously, but also you'd used all your energy. You were probably hungry, weren't you?
I was very hungry.
All right, Hanley, how's it feel? You're now a 2-time state champion for the team. Repeating as a state champion. Last year you were a newcomer. I mean, you were the freshman on the team. You had lots of experience. A couple players that had played for 4 years, and you could kind of watch them, and you didn't have the kind of responsibility as a team leader last year. You did this year. So how was that different?
Last year, I was definitely didn't really know as much as I do now, and it was kind of the new one, and I just kind of went with the flow with how everybody else was going, and this year I just felt like I was kind of maybe more on top of it and knew what it took coming from last year, and it just helped me get to where we were this year.
Okay, good. All right, so you guys have the privilege of being coached by one of the best coaches in Missouri. I mean, she is her record proves that.
Yes.
All the district championships, Final Four appearances, now 2 straight back-to-back state champions. What's she like as a coach? I won't tell her what you say.
Okay, I would say she's definitely a fun coach. To be to have been our coach, but she also knows when it's the right time to, be serious, and when it's the right time to, have fun, do some fun activities, which we did a lot this year, going on all those trips and everything. But she's coached us well, and, we put in the time and effort this summer, and it always, comes back and pays off at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Were there times when, when she can get on you a little bit during matches, when you got your head down or something's going on?
That's something that she doesn't really likes to see out of us.
Right.
And she always is there to, bring us up and tells us things that we're doing wrong or things that can help us come back in that match.
Good. Well, congratulations to Claire Bean and Hanley McAtee. Congratulations on your great success this season. And we really look forward to seeing what you guys do in the next couple of years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you.
We're back with Coach Hilburn and Coach Hunter. When you were here last year about this time with us, after a historic run to the state championship, you were very excited about that, and you should have been. You talked about kind of the nail biter of a Final Four that you had, just a really nerve-wracking for the coaches for sure. This year it seems like it was that sectional round against North County that you had to face the year before in sectionals and beat them. But tell us about that sectional round.
Boy, that match that was going to let us advance to the Final Four, I knew it was going to be tough. I know the coach. I've scouted out the players all year long throughout the last year, and I knew that was going to be the key match, just like the year before. And sure enough, it was. We had gotten our game plan together. We'd talked. The girls were ready. Went out there, and after doubles, we were down 0-3. And I'm telling you, I had some girls that just thought, oh my gosh, we haven't been in this position all year. Mm-hmm. And after the doubles, we had another little team meeting, and I said, girls, this isn't us. I said, everybody's watching, all eyes are on us to see what kind of team we are. You've told me all year that you're a championship team. Well, people are looking to see what you've got now. And sure enough, now it almost came down to the last match again before we won it, but they pulled it out. They gritted and played and throughout and kept the match going, and it was just unbelievable because very rarely do you get down 0-3 in a match going for 5 points and come back and win the match. So that was the key match for us advancing, and it gave us the confidence we needed to go to the state level.
Well, Carly Winston mentioned earlier when we were interviewing the individual players when we first did that today, that was her favorite memory. I said probably not at the time, but it was afterwards, wasn't it? And so she was very excited because I know she was the one that was still playing to wrap it up for you guys. So let's fast forward to the championship match. Obviously Clayton, even though they're not a private school, they've got a lot of the advantages that the private schools have. A lot of the private coaches, a lot of money invested in their program. So when it comes down to it, you had the doubles champions on your team. They had the singles champion on their team. Sounds like these are the teams that should have been meeting up in the championship, right?
When I saw who the Final Four was, I immediately told Hannah, I said, Clayton's the team to beat. And she said, oh, really? And I said, yes. I said, they're good. I said, they've got the champion singles player. And I said, they had a doubles team that went to state that competed quite well, made it in the top 8. And I said, if we get past this semifinal round, I said, it's going to be Clayton. And sure enough, it was. Yeah.
Well, that, tell me about that singles match between Claire and the state champion.
Yes.
Singh. Tell me about that match.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And I knew it would come down to mental toughness, and it did. The wind was 25 miles an hour. We were outdoors, which my girls wanted to be, so that helped. And she was down 2-5. and I was talking her through it, and I just kept saying, you've got to trust it. You've got to trust the plan, you've got to do it. And I said, I promise you, if you'll just trust yourself and get out there and play and quit worrying about who's saying what, the line calling, anything, I said, it'll turn around. And sure enough, she came back and won that set, and that's all she needed was the confidence to finish off the match.
Pretty amazing for I know she's played a lot of tennis, but it's still amazing for a freshman to have that kind of mental strength.
Yes, this is the first time she's been on a team, and it was a different perspective. And so after talking pretty much through between every changeover with her and getting her to stay focused, she saw my team needed me, and sure enough it did.
Well, and that's important. You know, tennis is such an individual game as opposed to most every other team sport that we have, but you're still part of a team. And so I guess that's your job to make sure that they understand your teammates are counting on you. You know, you can see it on the basketball court or the volleyball court or the football field, but sometimes it's hard to realize that when you're so focused on what you're doing at that time.
Right.
So how do you get kids to understand that?
Well, you give examples of other players that are on the team and how they did that, and you just have to be very repetitive in things, and just let them know that you've got to believe in me. You've got to believe in me. I promise. Get out of your comfort zone and do it, you know, and you'll see that it will work.
Well, so you guys, again, after winning a state championship, are going to lose 3 varsity players to graduation. So you got 3 places to fill again. Without naming names, do you have people in the wings that you know are going to step up and fill those spots?
Well, I'm sure somebody will fill those spots. We don't know who right now, but I will say that it's starting in November, it's only December, and we've probably got 10 girls that are taking lessons every week, working out on the tennis courts. They're hungry. They see those 3 spots open, and they want a spot.
Sure.
And so that is very encouraging as coaches to see that already in the wintertime, because tennis really in Kennett, Missouri is not a winter sport. But the lights are on all the time, and we're playing, and very excited about it.
And you got a new surface on your tennis courts this year, so that was great. Congratulations on everything that you guys have accomplished, that your team has accomplished. Well, coaches, let's bring out your tennis team. We have seniors Macy Basil, Carly Winston, Giselle Garcia, junior Christy Tejeda, sophomore Hanley McAtee, and from Holcomb High School, freshman Claire Bean. Congratulations to the Kennett with Holcomb tennis team for their state championship, and congratulations to you all, Coach Hilbert and Coach Hunter. Good job.